Wait for a minute. Start with the class. Morning, everyone. Today we will study the vocabulary for AFCAT exam, and this will be our first class. In upcoming classes, we will do whole syllabus of AFCAT, and we will cover everything which is important for for your AFCAT exam. Okay. Now we will start with the vocabulary. In vocabulary, also we will do first homonyms, and then we will go on doing the synonyms and some of the phrasal verbs which are important for your exam and not only for FCAT but also for the CDS also. Okay, so first word is abet. First word is abet. The meaning of the word is abet is to help someone to do bad, help someone to do something bad, help someone to do something bad. Some other word for the same word are connive and intrigue. Okay, and the same word for this is abet. You might have this You might have heard this word so many times. It comes a lot in newspapers and articles. The meaning of the word abate is to reduce something, reduce, lessen, mitigate, modify. mollify, placid, calm. Okay, you can remember with the placid, plus means this is a root word PLAC, which means calm or cool. Okay. Second word is, there are three words. First is historic, second is historical, third word is historical. Third word is historical. Basically, the meaning of the word historic is something which is famous in history. Something which is famous in history. And historical, you can say something which is related to history. Something which is related to history. Related to history. Famous in history. Historical is basically, you can say, uncontrolled emotion. मतलब basically बिना रुके हंसना, you can say that is historical. Berserk. Okay, this is the other word, uncontrolled emotions basically. And one more word is histrionic. Histrionic means is basically it is a drama type. Like whenever we are at our home, we do our sisters cry so that they attract the attention of our parents. Okay, that is basically the melodramatic drama to attract the attention. Melodramatic drama to attract attention. Okay. Next word is imaginative. Next word is imaginative. And other is imaginary. Imaginary is basically, you might be knowing, which can't be imagined. Okay. So one of the other word is hypothetical, जिसको सोचा ही जा सकता है, जैसे अगर मैं राजा होता, अगर मैं चिड़िया होता, अगर मैं प्रधानमंत्री होता, like that words. And one of the other word which is not very common is concocted. It is concocted. Okay, the meaning of the word concocted is also imaginary. And the imaginative is basically something which is related to the creativity and having good imagination. Creative and having good imagination. Okay, next word is colossal. Okay, we'll write again three to four words. Colossal. Colossal. See, whatever the words I am giving, these are almost most of the words are from directly from the newspaper. You will, if you read newspaper, you can relate these words to the newspaper also. Colossal, collaborate, corroborate, corroborate, collapse, commemorate. Okay, colossal is basically huge, मतलब कोई चीज, something which is there in very large amount. Okay, so other word for colossal can be huge, enormous, ginormous, gigantic. And collaborate is basically to merge with someone or to work with someone, merge. And corroborate is basically to confirm. Corroborate is basically confirm, that if I ask you whether you are coming or not, so he corroborated that he is coming. Okay, collapse is basically to feel down or to fail, dis feel down and to fail. Or you can say collapse, build some building collapsed. Okay, destroy, you can say debacle, destroy, debacle, destructive. These are some of the words for the collapse. Commemorate is basically to remember someone. Okay, to remember on 26 and 15 January, we will the commemorate our national heroes who laid down the life for safeguarding the nation. Okay, next word is judicious. Judicious. And other is judiciary. Judicious is basically a person who is wise, wise person. Sagacious, prudent, prudent, discern. And judiciary is something related to the judiciate, court, and all. Okay, something related to judiciary. Okay, next word is suit, and other is shoot. Suit is basically to compliment. Suit is basically to compliment. Compliment, whenever you will go in any hotel, then you get compliment drink. Then you get compliment drink. And other word is a luxurious room. A luxurious room in a hotel. Okay. So one word is this, other word is compliment. Compliment. Compliment is means to praise, applaud, loud, eulogy, eulogize, extol, encomium, appreciate. Okay. So you can read this word. Next is gregarious. Next word is gregarious. Gregarious is basically a person who is friendly and social. Social, friendly, social, friendly, and amicable. Amicable or amiable. Not amicable, sorry, amiable. Okay. Other word is eg- egregious. 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 The meaning of the word egregious is basically a person who is not good, immoral. Kamina, you can say. Immoral, wicked. Okay. Next word is seize. Other is seize. One seize is basically capture, other is to prevent. This is to capture. Okay, if you read today's newspaper, you will see that Trump has captured the Venezuela's president. Okay, seize is basically to stop or prevent something from happening. Stop, prevent, hinder, obstacle, obstruct. Okay, these are some of the synonyms. Okay, one of the famous word which comes most of the time in exam is principle and principle. Principle and principle. How you can remember this is principle, this is ending with le. So you can remember it is something rule, moral, ethics. What are the principle or ethics, moral values you have learned from our parents? And principal is basically the head of the institution. Head of the institution. Next word is affect or effect. Affect and effect. Affect is basically to influence someone. Influence someone. And effect is to impact. Okay. Impact, not impact. It is basically result. What are the side effects of medicine? Whenever we take medicine, we always ask what are the side effects of this medicine and that. Okay. Next word is quiet. Quiet. And other is quiet. 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 Okay. And other is quilt. Quiet is basically to remain silent. And quiet is basically something which is abundant or ample in amount. Ample or enough. Quit is to give up. Quit is to give up. And quid is basically a gold coin. Gold coin, you might have seen the old coins in movies and all. That is quid. And quilt is basically a blanket or rajai. Blanket or rajai. Okay. Next word is desert. Other is desert. So which desert you want? First one or second one? Tell me in the comment box. Okay. I will tell you the meaning of both. This desert is sandy area, which is there in Rajasthan, sandy area. And this desert is sweet dish. I think most of you will need second desert, but as you are preparing for defense, then I think surely you will get first, and with in compliment you will get the second desert. Sweet dish. Okay. Next word is discreet. Other is discreet. Discreet is basically separate, alag alag, and discreet is again judicious, wise, sagacious person. Judicious, wise, sagacious. Okay. Next word is immigrant. Immigrant, imminent, not imminent. And other is immigrant. Immigrant is basically a person who comes to our country. In you can remember with this I. I is basically to enter, who enter to country. Okay, and eminent is basically famous, renowned. You can say that Mahatma Gandhiji was an eminent person. So he was basically a famous person, renowned, well known. Imminent is basically something which is about to happen. Something which is about to happen. An immigrant is basically a person who exit one's country. E say exit one's country. Okay, a minute. Okay. Next word is accept and accept. First one is to basically to admit or agree that whenever if you are discussing something with your friend, then he accepted your request. And accept is basically to skip or skip or exclude something, exclude someone, exclude. Okay. Next word is assent and assent. Assent. You might have seen assent and assent. Assent is basically something. Assent, you can say that to agree again. That president gave his assent on the assent on the bill. And accent is basically style. Okay, that you can say that he's speaking in a British accent. That is basically style. Okay. Next is dissent. 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 And again it is next is decent. Decent is basically opposition. A person who is there in your opposition, or a person who have different opinions on same matter, you can say opposition. And dissent is basically modest, humble. Okay, again, before sometime I gave you a word, compliment. Compliment and compliment. Compliment is basically something which shoots and completes, and something someone praises you, that is compliment. Praise, applaud. That you can say that whenever you go to the restaurant, you get a compliment drink, something which completes your dinner or meal. Okay. Next word is prize. Prize and uprise. Uprise and appraise. Okay. Uprise is basically to increase, raise, you can say from there. Raise is basically to increment in something. Increment in something, or to check the value of that product. And uprise is basically to inform or to tell someone. Okay. Next word is descend and ascend. Descend, ascend. Descend is downward slope. Ascend is upward slope. Okay. Next word is consensual. Consensual. Next is conscience. Consensual is basically means by agreeing with someone, मतलब सबकी सहमति से कोई डिसीजन लेना. To take a decision with everyone's majority. Okay, so that will be by unison. मतलब सबने मिलके क्या है वो डिसीजन लिया है. कंसाइंस इज बेसिकली अंतरात्मा. ओके, अंतरात्मा यू कैन से. A knowledge to judge whether something is right or wrong. Whether something is right or wrong. Okay. Next word is conscientious or conscious. Conscious. Other word is conscientious. Conscious means basically to be aware or to be attentive. Okay, to be aware or to be attentive of our surrounding. What is happening in our surrounding. And conscientious means having concise, अपनी अंतरात्मा से पूछना. Having conscience. Okay. Next word is arbitration. Arbitration, altercation, association, association or alternation. Arbitration is basically to negotiate or mediation. Negotiate or mediate. जैसे nowadays US is claiming that during the Operation Sindoor they mediated they mediated or they were the arbitrate between the India and China. Sorry, India and Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. And altercation is basically a small war, fracas, fracas, small fight. Association, you all know that committee, okay, which have many members, committee. And altercation is basically to change. Altercation is basically to change. Comprehensible. Next word is comprehensible. Comprehensible, comprehensible, or comprehensive, comprehensive, or compassionate. Comprehensive is basically that can be understood, something which can be understood, that can be understood. And comprehensive is basically important, that includes everything, important or basic, that include everything. Compassionate is basically a jealous person, passionate about something, jealous, passionate, keen. Okay. Next word is elitist or egotist or extremist. Elitist is basically someone who belong to a specific class, someone who belong to a specific class, superior or privileged, someone who consider a specific class, superior or privileged. Egotist is basically a person who is self-centered, मतलब खुद पे ही ध्यान ज्यादा देता है. Okay, self-centered. Extremist is basically a fanatic person, fanatic about fanatic cutter related to cutter means sorry. Fanatic is basically cutter related to religion, caste. Okay. Next word is indecent. Next word is indecent and industrious. Indecent and industrious. Next is indignant. Next is indignant. And next is again indigenous. Indigent is basically a poor person, poor, baker, and industrious is basically a person who is hardworking, hardworking. Okay, you can remember by this industrious, the person who work in industry is basically a hardworking or diligent and assiduous. You can remember by as Gada is Mehndi. Indignant is basically to get furious or angry, to get angry or furious. And indigenous is basically native or original. Okay. Next word is differ and deter. Differ, deter, and differ. Differ is basically to change. Like you can say you have a difference of opinion. Means you have different opinion, change. Deter is basically to discourage someone. Okay, discourage. And defer means postpone, or you can say other word is to pay respect, deterrence. Okay. Next word is illusion and allusion. Illusion and allusion. Illusion is basically to deceive someone. Deceive, धोखा देना, deceive. And allusion is to basically to give hint, to give hint of something. Next word is affection. Another is affectation. Affection is basically a liking, admiration, you can say. Okay, liking, love, admire. And affectation, you can say here two times T is coming. So, like he is basically showing off, show off person, flex, pompous, or pretension, pretentious, दिखावा करता है basically. Okay. Next word is assure, insure, or insure. Assure is basically to give assurance to someone, to give assurance, like to promise someone that I will complete this and this. Assurance is basically to promise, you can say. Ensure is basically the you can say that this work will get done. You have to ensure that you get this work done. So always we always ensure something. Ensure something is completed or not. And ensure is basically to give some compensation. Insurance, you can say, give compensation. Insurance on. Okay. Next word is device. Device is basically instrument, and device is to find a new way to do something. Okay. Next word is pale. Pale. N-P-A-L-E. Pale means is basically bucket. Pale means bucket, and pale means to fade color. To fade or inferior. Okay. Next word is basically state, and state. Estate is basically how much estate business or how much property you have. And state is basically Rajya, province. Okay. Next word is illicit. Then illicit. Illicit is basically illegal, not accepted by society, illegal. And illicit is to basically to draw out something from someone, draw out something from someone. Okay, next word is elude. Elude, allude, and delude. Elude means to basically again deceive or escape. Elude means is basically to deceive, or allude again to hint, and delude is basically to mislead someone. Okay. Next word is basically proscribe and prescribe. Doctor always prescribe medicine means he advise, and government always try to proscribe on alcoholic drinks, like basically ban, okay, and condemn. Advise, or you can say recommend. Okay. Invoke or evoke. Invoke is basically to call someone or summon, कोर्ट के थ्रू जाना. Summon, call. And evoke is basically to remember old days. Ingenious and ingenuous, next word. Ingenious and ingenuous. Ingenious is basically clever or nifty person. Genius, you can say. Genius, clever, cunning. Or genuous is basically a person who is naive and innocent. Naive and innocent. Okay. Next word is canvas or canvas. Canvas is basically cloth for writing something. Cloth for writing or painting. Canvas is basically to ask for vote, going door to door and to ask for vote. Okay. Few words are left. Above I write word delude. One more word is there. Prelude. Prelude. Prelude is basically to introduce or introduction. Okay. Next word is affluence. Affluence or if influence. Affluence is basically a wealthy person, affluent, wealth, rich, opulent. Effluence is basically outflow of waste, मतलब खराब चीजों को बाहर फेंकना. Outflow of waste. Okay. Next word is diffuse, and next is diffuse. Diffuse, we have seen diffusion basically sprayed of gases. If we diffuse, if we use scent, then when we press it, then all the pressure which is there inside it gets sprayed in the air. And diffuse is basically to have different opinion or thoughts on same matter. But diffuse, you can say it is basically to reduce, mitigate, reduce. Okay. Last word is hoard, hoard, and herd. Horde is basically a group of people or crowd, group of people or crowd. And horde is to basically collect or gather. Again, herd is basically a animal, cattle. Okay. Now we have done almost 100 plus words which are important for your exam. These are all the words important for CDS and AFCAT. Please go through them. And these words you will find in newspaper also. These are very common words which comes and repeat every time in newspaper. Okay. Now we will do one more interesting part. That is, we will do some idioms and not idioms and phrases. We will do some phrasal verbs. We will do some phrasal verbs. बढ़िया भाई. Okay. So we will do some phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs. First one is account for. Account for. Account for meaning basically to explain the reason of something. Okay, basically to explain the reason of something. Okay, and ask for is basically to request. Ask for is basically to request, and ask after is basically to inquire. Ask after is basically to inquire. Okay, next is basically to back out. Back out means to withdraw. Other is back off. So both are basically means withdraw, but one withdraw is from promise and other is from situation. Withdraw from situation. Okay. Next is basically to catch up with. That I will catch up with you means basically to reach the same level. To reach the same level. Okay, and cope with. Okay, never use cope up with because cope up with is wrong. Cope with is right. So the meaning of cope with is basically to manage. Okay. And next word is die down. Die down. Die down is basically to ग्रेजुअली डिस्पोज थोड़ा थोड़ा करके क्या होना खत्म हो जाना ग्रेजुअली डिस्पोज ओके एंड डाई आउट इज बेसिकली टू एग्जिस्टेंस ही खत्म हो जाना एग्जिस्टेंस ही खत्म हो जाना बिकम आउट ऑफ यूज ओके डिस्पोज ऑफ एंड डिस्पोज टू नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज नेक्स्ट फ्रेजल वर्ब डिस्पोज ऑफ एंड डिस्पोज टू dispose of is basically to get rid of something is to get rid of something and dispose to is basically to willing or inclined to do something willing to do something okay next word is draw up next phrasal verb is draw up drop is basically to compose or draft something compose or draft something you can say that please draw up and mail for me okay draw on means draw on oblique upon is basically to using your information or experience. Using information or experience. Drop in is basically to pay a short visit. Drop in is basically to pay a short visit. And draw out is basically to retire in mid of something. मतलब किसी चीज से बीच में ही बाहर हो जाना. Retire in midst of something. Okay. And is basically next phrasal verb is deal in. Deal in. How you can remember next other is deal in. You can remember it like this. We always deal in something. Like we do trade. Okay. And we always deal with someone. Deal with someone. So we basically we manage. Okay. Next is follow up. Follow up means basically to go. You go to a doctor for follow up. Then to go after the first attempt. Go or pursue after the first attempt. Okay. And next phrasal verb is hang about. Is basically to roam somewhere. Hang about is basically to roam. इधर उधर घूमना. That on the New Year Eve, people were hanging about their cities. Hand out. Hand out is basically to distribute. So what you can say, on his birthday, he hand out food package to the indignant people. So it's basically to distribute. Okay, handover. Handover is basically to give charge. Handover giving charge or authority to someone else. Giving charge or authority. Jump at basically to accept something eagerly. Accept something eagerly. Okay. Jump to is basically to that without wasting time we should jump to the last. Basically arrive quickly to the conclusion. Arrive quickly to the conclusion. Okay. And it's basically to keep from means is basically to refrain oneself from doing something bad. Refrain from. Okay. Keep off again to stay away. Keep off is basically to stay away. Keep on is basically to continue something. Keep on doing good work. God will reward you with the best efforts. Keep on, continue. Keep up is basically to maintain, like whenever we do good work, our teachers say that keep up the good work, basically to maintain. Maintain. And keep up with is basically to stay at same place. To stay at same place. Okay. Next is let. Let down is basically to disappoint someone. Okay, like our parents say, don't let me down when I visit your school, my principal for marks or something. To disappoint. And let into is basically to allow someone to enter.